The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
Hello, and this video is about Cadet and whether or not his death was scripted and whether or not it was a ritual. Now, in this video, I'll be breaking this death ritual down and I'll be showing with tons of evidence, because trust me, there is a lot of evidence I have to present to show that this was a scripted event and was in the works for a long time. Now, I felt a need to make this one of the first videos I do. One is because if I can show how these things work within the industry and how they script these events with the numbers, and if you haven't watched my Chris Cabot video part 1 and 2, then it would be worth watching to understand how a rough idea of how these things work, and it will help you a lot more to understand this video and what I'm going to be presenting. But even if you haven't, then I'm sure by the end of this you will know anyway. But I believe by breaking this down, when I go forward and break down more videos, this will help you understand more of what I'm saying, because there's a lot to take in, and what you have to understand about these things are they have to gain your energy and they have to ensure they're gaining your attention. So they have to make storylines for you to actually engage yourself within these things. It's like WWE, as explained in my last video. It's like WWE. They have to engage you. So they have to make it real, like how real life is. They have to make it as real as possible, because that way people believe it. Do you see what I'm saying? And again, a lot of these celebrities are just actors, and there's no two ways to put it. There's no easy way to say it, but a lot of these celebrities are actors. They're like pawns on the chessboard. They work for the people that control them. They are there to push certain agendas, have us follow them so that we subscribe to whatever it is they're doing. You know, they're like the faces of the people who control the Matrix. They're the faces that are pushed in front of us for us to follow. You know, the handlers, they're like, it's like they're the servants to the handlers. As the servants, they do the handlers' biddings, whether good or bad. And their job is to get our attention, get our energy, so we follow them. Now, this event was a big one within the UK music scene, because at the time it happened, you know, the people who he's associated with, and just generally speaking, at the time of his death, he was growing in popularity, growing in following, growing in notoriety. And obviously he was the cousin of Crept, who is a big part in his death. He was actually a sacrifice for Crept. But we'll go into that. We'll definitely go into that as we break down this video. And these guys are just actors that play a role, you know, to push agendas. And this is why it's key to understand the symbolism, because they tell us what side they're on. They tell us what side they're on. It's very subtle, but they do tell us with their hand signs, their gestures, what they do, what they say, the numbers, blue and pink, pushing certain agendas. A lot of the things they push as well are for the subconscious. So consciously, we might not be aware, but our subconscious picks up on everything, you know? Or even like got the blue and the pink, even that's a representative of something. Without saying where it is, the blue and pink, it's a particular flag associated with pride that represents. I will go over people's heads and people say, oh, just a blue car and a pink jumper. But, you know, that's symbolism for you. You got the 3, the 33, Got the one eye of his biggest hit, which Dino is also associated with his death. You got the 33 and also the 6, showing you who they are. And remember, I did break down double entendres because a lot of the symbols they do, a lot of the signs they show us have double meanings. People will say that, oh, no, that's just linked to Dele Alli's celebration that he did, and obviously these guys, copied it because there's a song called Advice, Dele Alli, because of that sign they do, but that's a Masonic hand sign. And Dele Alli, we'll see later, also has a part of this in terms of this ritual. But yeah, let's go through it. So let's go through thoroughly how this death was a ritual and was scripted, because trust me, there's a lot to go through. There is a lot. And if after this you still are not sure, then I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you, but let's go through anyway. So we see that Johnson, which is his second name by the way, he died on the 9th of February in a car accident on his way to Kiel University, where he was going to do a show, a concert. He died 3 weeks, which would have been before his 29th birthday already. He died on the 9th of February, which is the second month, 9th day, 29, 3 weeks before his 29th birthday. To be specific, he died 22 days before his birthday. So he died on the 9th of February, 22 days before his birthday. And 22 is one of the numbers that they like to use in their rituals, 22. 22 is also in the gematria for car, and he died in a car. He died in a car crash. 22 is one of the numbers for car. And you got the 23 in car as well, because that is his date of birth. His birthday is the 2nd of March, which is 020323. And car 22, he died in a car 22 days before his birthday. Crash also has 22. So he died in a car in a crash, which is 22 days before his birthday. Crash has 22 as well. Crash also has 32, which is again his birth numbers. The third month, March, and the 2nd day, that's his birthday. So car and crash both have the 23 or the 32, which is 2-3 reversed, and also have 22. So there's already connections starting to begin with the 22 and the 23, or 3-2 reversed. Now, one of his favorite lines, he always calls himself Mr. Buff, or I'm Buff in it, or I'm Buff, Mr. Buff. He likes to refer himself to that. And partly that's because as an actor, in which a lot of these guys are, actor shares 2 ciphers with I'm Buff, which is what he likes to use as one of his main hashtags, I'm Buff. It shares 2 ciphers with the 33. And 33, is also one of their numbers, Masonry, 33. And as an actor, he likes to use the word I'm Buff. Now look at all the other 33 connections within his death. There is a lot. You got Dele Alli, with the full reduction 33, and his main song, his most popular song, Advice is called Advice, Dele Alli, and in that song they do the Dele Alli celebration with the hand sign over their eye and the 33, because as you do the sign, the 3 is on the forehead as you see in the picture, and then the circle around the eye. So Dele Alli is a huge connection to this death of the 33. You got alcohol with the reverse full reduction 33, because the guy who is responsible for his death, which we'll go into, his name is Jordan Birch by the way, he was under the influence of alcohol, which they stated in the article, and that's 33. You got taxi smash, because in the articles they refer to the incident as a taxi smash. They actually say taxi smash over taxi crash. They call it a taxi smash, which is 33 as well. As you saw, Buff has the gematria 33, and even his name Cadet also has the 33. So there's huge 33 connections. And yes, I didn't forget, his full name, Blaine Cameron Johnson, has the reverse ordinal as 333. That is very, very interesting that his full name has the reverse ordinal as 333. As much as it may seem far-fetched, but their names are also scripted. Their dates of birth are also scripted. It's very easy to change a person's date of birth. Their names, like, these guys are so scripted and are such actors that even their names and their date of births and some of the names of their songs and albums are so scripted. His name is 333 in reverse ordinal. Their names are so scripted. Their dates of birth are so scripted. Mr. Buff, 33. He refers to as Mr. Buff or I'm Buff. And then you got the 33 with them two, the 3-3 or the 3 with the hand sign. And their main song, who's with Dino, who's connected to his death, has the 33. So the 33 is a prominent number within Cadet's death, along with other numbers which we're going to go break down. Trust me, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. Like the Blaine Cameron Johnson for me was very interesting. I saw that it was 333. That's near perfect. That's a near perfect name in the gematria, like to have 333. You know, Masonry 33, so an actor 33. You got other connections. The van that crashed into him was around 1:30 a.m. and it was a van that crashed into him. And that's a connection because they share two of their ciphers, 1:30 a.m. and the vehicle that hit him was a van, the 44 and 17. So they share two ciphers, the van and the time at the incident. That's interesting. And then in the article, he's wearing an orange jumper. Now, they like to use the color orange because orange has the gematria 33. So they like to use the orange when they do these events or when they're doing their articles or whatever it is, because orange is one of their colors they like to use, as it has the 33 in the gematria. If I'm not wrong, I think orange is the only color that has 33 in the gematria. So they like to use the color orange. When you put orange next to Cadet, they share 3 ciphers, the 33, then the 102 and the 30. So his name is his stage name and orange share 3 of their 4 ciphers. He's wearing orange in the article. Now look at this, sticking on the orange. Now you can see in this post was the 11th of January 2019, not long before his death. You can see the orange car in the background. So remember, I'm talking about the orange. They like to use the color orange in their symbolism. You can see orange there, the orange car in the background. Look at what he says. 2019 mood, how I'd step over R. Kelly's grave. P.S. I'm Buff. Remember, I'm Buff is the 33. So he likes to use I'm Buff, but he mentions R. Kelly. He mentions R. Kelly in the post. How I'd step over R. Kelly's grave. R. Kelly's an interesting person to use. Obviously, I get why he's saying that in terms, I said the double entendre. I get why he's saying that because of the stuff R. Kelly's done and whatever have you not. Another scripted character, but this is about Cadet. Yeah, the double entendre. He mentions R. Kelly, of all people, and this was 11th of January. Now, look at R. Kelly in the gematria. This is what's interesting. R. Kelly has the 83, which is the 38 reversed, and 38 is the number that they like to use for death, because in the gematria for death has 38. Now, as I said earlier, if you watch my Chris Cabot video, I explain the 38 and the prominence of it. 38 is the number they like to use because it's associated with death in the gematria. R. Kelly has 83. He also has 29. Cadet died on the 2nd month and the 9th day, the 29. The 29 is a very prominent number within this death ritual. This is the date with which Cadet died. And not only he died on the 9th of the 2nd, 29, he also died 22 days before his 29th birthday, in which he would have been 29. So R. Kelly also has 29. And he has 34. And you're going to see as we go through the video, 34 is also a very prominent number within this death ritual. 34 also is a number they like to use, which is associated with death and killings and fake deaths. I repeat, fake deaths. They like to, the 34 because 34 is in the gematria of fake death. So 34 is a number they like to use. So in 3 of R. Kelly's ciphers have numbers that are very connected to this death. So it's interesting how he mentioned R. Kelly in that post on the 11th of January, in which he had an orange car. As I've said about the orange, they like to use the color orange in their symbolism. So after saying all this, this post was made the 11th of January, and how long was that before his death? 29 days. That post was 29 days before his death, and he died on the second month and the 9th day, 2/9, which was 22 days before his 29th birthday. So that post in which he mentioned R. Kelly with the 29 was made 29 days before his birthday. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. And then going to the 34 and the 38, as you can see, you got Murder with 34, Killing with 43, which is 3/4 verse, and Blaine, which is his first name, has 43, 3/4, which is the number for killing and murder and fake death. And Blaine also has the 38, which R. Kelly has in one of his ciphers, or 8/3, which is the 3/8 verse. 3/8 is also in killing, death, and murder. This is why they like to use the number 38. They also like to use the number 34 because it's in a few of these ciphers. Blaine, which is Cadet's real name, has 43 and 38. And even 25, which is a death number as well. So his name is a name associated with death. And when I say that, by the way, that's not to say if someone's name is Blaine, or any person you might know whose name is Blaine, that doesn't mean that person is going to die like soon, or that person's associated with death. I just mean in the gematria, or the numbers. You know what I'm saying? The numbers is associated with it. That doesn't literally mean the person themselves is going to die like soon or something. So that's not what I'm saying. If your name happens to have 34 in its gematria, that doesn't mean you're now, gonna have some fake death or something. So yeah, you see the numbers are there. And then you also got horror, because they described it. They described it as a horror. Do you know what I'm saying? They describe it as a horror taxi smash. Horror has 34 in its gematria, also 47, and we're going to break down how the 47 connects to it. UK rapper is 43, which is 3/4 verse, which is what Blaine was, or Cadet should I say. And then obviously Blaine, his name has 43, 3/4 verse. But we'll go into the 47, the connection of that, because that is a big number too. And look, as we saw, as I explained, fake death has the 34 in it. So a lot of fake deaths that they do within the industry would likely have 34 connected to it as a number. And as you saw, the 47, which we'll break down as we go further into the video. But you see the 3/4 connection, you see the 29 so far, and the 38. So looking into the story more, he was in a Toyota Prius, and it was a Vauxhall van that crashed into him on the main road in Betley, A531. Now, he died on the main road of Betley, A531, yeah? And that road shares 3 of the 4 ciphers with his social media name, his Twitter social media name, Call Me Cadet. Call Me Cadet shares 3 ciphers with the road he died on, 7934. Remember the 34? Remember the 34 fake death, and 218 or 128, which is the same numbers, just reversed. So they share 79 and 34, and Bentley also has the 47. And you're starting to see the 47 a lot more, and there's more. So his name, Call Me Cadet, shares 3 ciphers with the road he died on. Because I'm showing numbers and whatever have you not. But do you know how precise that is? Like, that's not like something that's just, oh yeah, coincidence. Like, so far, I could stop the video now, and that's, for me personally, that's enough evidence that this was scripted. We're not even halfway, but that's enough evidence that this was scripted. Just what I've discovered and showed so far. Because these numbers are very precise, like 3 of the 4 ciphers. You know what? Like, that's near impossible. Like, that's literally near impossible, yet it does. But anyways, moving on. On his birthday, there's 304 days left in the year, which again, 3/4. Because in gematria, you knock off the 0, which leaves 3/4. So his own birthday leaves 304 days left in the year, so 3/4. So again, the 3/4 symbolism. So that's why I say even their dates of birth are scripted. And then remember, he died. It was a Vauxhall that crashed into the Prius he was in, and Vauxhall and Prius share two of their four ciphers, 29, and what was the date he died? The 9th of the 2nd, so the 2nd month, 9th day, 29, and he died before his 29th birthday. And they share the 34 and 4-3 for voxel, so 3-4 reversed. How interesting is that? Like, how much of a coincidence can that be? That the vehicle that crashed into the vehicle he was in both have 29 in their cipher, which is the date of his death, and they have the 34 fake death. How coincidental is that? Like, and then if you remember earlier when I showed R. Kelly's gematria, he shares 3 ciphers with Prius, and that's the car that Cadet died in. And when he mentioned R. Kelly in that post, as I showed earlier, that was 29 days before his death. So that was a big link between the two. And it's just ironic how he mentioned his name out of the random 29 days before his death, and the vehicle he dies in shares 3 of the same ciphers with the person he mentioned randomly in his post. It's a bit of a coincidence that. Then there's more, trust me. And yeah, I've highlighted Johnson died on the scene of severe head injuries because even that was scripted using predictive programming. But we'll break that down soon as well. It will all make sense. So on the 1st of November, 23-year-old Jordan Birch was charged with the killing of Cadet. So the person that killed him, his name was Jordan Birch. He was 23, and that age is also scripted because that's Cadet's date of birth, the 2nd of the 3rd. So even his age is scripted. But Jordan Birch was the person that was charged for Cadet's killing, and he's also a scripted character. He was charged 34 weeks after Cadet's birthday that year. So from the 2nd of March to 1st of November is 34 weeks apart. We've seen the 34 so many times now. Even the date he was charged is scripted. Now, before we go into Jordan Birch, Cadet was traveling to Kill University to do his performance, and Def and Kill share the exact same gematria in each cipher. They share the exact same gematria, and that was the university Cadet was traveling to before he died. So even that was scripted because it has the same exact gematria as Def. So he was actually supposed to die that day within their scripts. This was a staged event ritual. It says Jordan Birch reached speeds of up to 69 miles per hour. And I've also highlighted that his breathalyzer test gave a reading of 39 micrograms of alcohol. Those two numbers are also scripted. 39 is a masonry number because masonry has 39 in its gematria. So that reading of 39 scripted, and then 69 miles per hour was the speeds he reached up to. And look at this, 69 is in the gematria of Jordan Birch and Blaine Johnson. In fact, it's in the same cipher. Jordan Birch and Cadet, who's named Blaine Johnson, share 2 of their 4 ciphers, one of which is 69, and 69 was the speed he reached upon Cadet's death. So how ironic is it that he's reaching up to speeds of 69 and both of their names have 69 in their same cipher as well as 57. So the person that killed him shares 2 ciphers as himself. Do you know how precise that is? That is very, very precise that the person that killed him shares 2 of his ciphers. Like, that's unbelievable, honestly. And then even the event he was promoting, as you can see, he was doing the one eye symbolism as he was promoting the NFL Super Bowl. And he promoted that, you see the date, it was the 3rd of the 2nd, which is his birthday reversed. He's also got the number 8 on his shirt, which was his last day technically alive. That was his last day alive. He had that number on his shirt because he died on the 9th, 1:30 a.m. So his 8th was his last full day alive. And he has that number on his shirt. And that Super Bowl, the New England Patriots won, which was their 6th title. And that day, the 3rd, was 6 days before he died. And the Patriots won their 6th title on that day. So they won their 6th title on the day that Cadet was hosting his NFL Super Bowl party with, I think, Dino. Yeah, it was with Dino. And they won their 6th title. And that day was 6 days before he died. It's very interesting as well that on one of his posts, Poet, this is before he died, by the way, Poet said in the comments, but Cadet, you died again. And it was very random because the post has nothing to do with death. And Cadet was alive, so why did he say that? Cadet, you died again. They like to do that in preparation so that they've told you what's about to happen. They are telling you, that's what I'm saying. They do tell you these things. You just have to be able to understand symbolism. They do tell you. That's literally hidden in plain sight. He said, but Cadet, you died again. Cadet hadn't died. So what do you mean he died again? In fact, why even saying that? And then he died. Like, you know, it's very interesting. Now, that's all I'll be going over for part 1 of my Cadet breakdown. And part 2 will be about how Krept is connected with this death, and also how Dino and Young Ads and Bugsy Malone, yes, are all connected with this death ritual, because they all are as well. Big players are part of this, and he actually was a Krept sacrifice. So I'll be breaking that down in the part 2 of this video, because as I said, I have a lot of proof and evidence, and I don't want to make this video too long. This will probably be like an hour. I don't want to make it too long, so I'll rather break up into 2 parts. But that's part 1 of the Cadet death ritual. Look out for part 2.
I always tell the truth, even when I lie. So say good night to the bad guy. Come on. The last time you're gonna see a bad guy like this again, let me tell you. You need people like me.